Today we're going to embark on a journey to a country from the 1950s, a land with colorful and historic streets and alleys, beautiful and classic old cars, warm and friendly people, the aroma of cigar leaves, stunning Caribbean beaches, and street music. It's a completely safe country for tourists, offering a few days away from the modern and bustling world to experience an authentic and nostalgic life. Just hearing its name brings to mind great figures like Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. Cuba, officially known as the Republic of Cuba, is a country consisting of the Cuban archipelago in the Caribbean Sea, situated at the entrance of the Gulf of Mexico. This country shares no borders with any other nation. Only a small portion of the island, Guantanamo Bay, is under the control of the United States, leased through a treaty in 1903. Cuba covers an area of 110,000 square kilometers and has a population of nearly 11 million people. Spanish is the official language of Cuba, but English is also widely spoken in tourist areas, making communication easy. 59% of the country's population are Christians, 23% are non-religious, and 17% follow indigenous beliefs. Cuba is a multi-ethnic country, with its culture and traditions stemming from diverse roots, including indigenous peoples, African slaves, colonial influences, and close ties with the Soviet Union during the Cold War era. In fact, Cuba is one of the few countries where the key role of the Communist Party is enshrined in its constitution. The independence of Cuba is a complex story. Discovered by Christopher Columbus, this country remained under Spanish colonization for 400 years until the end of the Spanish-American War in 1898, during which it was still a colony of the Spanish Empire. There was a brief period of American colonization following that, until the mid-20th century, when it had a semi-independent status. Finally, in 1952, it formally declared independence from Spain. The Cuban Revolution began in 1953 and lasted until late 1958. The dictatorship of America-backed General Batista managed to resist the revolutionaries led by Fidel Castro and Che Guevara. After Che Guevara's victories, the revolution succeeded in 1959, and with the establishment of the new government led by Fidel Castro, Cuba achieved complete independence. Following this, the United States imposed sanctions on Cuba due to its alignment with communist powers, marking the beginning of the Cuban saga. The capital of Cuba is the coastal city of Havana, with a population of 2,200,000. Havana is considered the most populous city in Cuba. This city is the heart of Cuba's tourism industry, with over 4 million visitors annually. To see the attractions of Havana, just take a stroll through the city streets and you'll feel like time has stopped in the 1940s and 1950s. The old and historic center of the city is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with many of its buildings dating back to the 17th century and featuring Baroque architecture. The streets of Havana could be described as a large museum of classic cars. After 1959, the importation of cars into Cuba was prohibited, and even the buying and selling of these 50-year-old cars was banned until 2011, when they could only be passed down through inheritance. The primary use of these cars now is either as shared taxis or for renting out to transport tourists. In the mid-1990s, tourism surpassed sugar, which had been the mainstay of Cuba's economy and considered the primary source of foreign currency. For this reason, Havana allocated significant resources to the construction of tourist facilities and the restoration of historical structures. Tourism is considered one of the main sources of income for the people, and the country greatly relies on earning revenue from tourists. Here, people can earn in minutes what they might make in a month or two from a tourist. That's why Cubans are very hospitable to tourists and try to connect with them. You'll even see women in Havana wearing traditional clothes, making money by taking photos with tourists. But be mindful to negotiate discounts when traveling to this country, whether when taking a taxi or making purchases, as they may have asked for a significantly higher amount from you. It's interesting to know that Cuba is the only country with two currency units. The first currency is the Cuban peso, which is the primary currency of the country and is used among the locals. The second currency is called the cuc, or peso convertible, which is specifically for foreigners. All services provided to tourists are conducted using this currency. The best time to travel to Cuba is from early December to early June, when the weather is dry, rainfall is low, and the sky is sunny. When strolling through the streets and alleys of this country, the first thing that catches your eye is the noticeable presence of people in the streets and alleys. Cubans enjoy sitting in the streets and chatting with friends and neighbors. Apart from this, the houses are very old, with no sign of modern urban space. This is true across the country, with people living in old and dilapidated houses. These houses, with their deteriorating appearance, have inadequate conditions inside. The stairs are broken and rotten, and the walls and ceilings are cracked. Many houses lack basic utilities such as electricity and water. Cuba is governed by a socialist system, meaning the government is responsible for providing the basic needs of the people, such as food, clothing, and housing. Cubans obtain the necessities designated by the government from specific locations using the coupons they hold. If these items do not meet their needs, they try to address their problems by working and earning income. Incomes in Cuba are very low, with employees receiving between $20 to $25 per month. Overall, the government is unable to fully meet the people's needs, and individuals are forced to stand in long queues even for their smallest needs, such as bread, sugar, and meat. In Cuba, the government owns all the shops, and only very small and home-based shops can have private ownership. The only abundant product in the country is coffee, because they produce it themselves and it is one of the few products they can export to other countries. Cuba is the source of the world's best tobacco leaves, but only 10% of cigarette production reaches the local people, while the remaining 90% is sold to the government at a fixed price. It can be said that in this country, apart from tourism, no sector of the industry has undergone any significant development. In Cuba, except for central areas and the capital, vehicles are rarely used in other parts of the country. People either use carts and bicycles to get around or prefer to walk. The reason is that gasoline is very expensive, and only those working in the tourism sector can afford to purchase it. In Cuba, government vehicles are required to pick up people waiting on the roadside when passing through highways. Given the scarcity of cars in the country, this helps greatly in transporting passengers. Here, people cannot express their dissatisfaction because the punishment for protesting against the existing system begins with a 10-year prison sentence. Due to difficult living conditions, many people in the country decide to immigrate to the United States. Many Cubans choose the sea route to reach the United States and travel between these two countries using small boats. According to the 2022 census, about 2.5 million people of Cuban descent reside in the United States, and 70% of this population resides in the state of Florida. Despite all the issues and problems facing the people of this country, they are very happy. The most important pastime for the people is eating, accompanied by listening to music and dancing. Cubans love music, and enjoying it with family is soothing amidst all their problems. If we want to mention the positive aspects of this country, it must be said that in Cuba, healthcare and medical care are provided as a citizen right for all people for free. Education is also free up to higher levels. Moreover, despite the low average income of Cubans and strict communist laws, over 90% of the Cuban population own their homes. Cuba is a strange country in today's world, where the astonishing speed of modern technology has not been able to impose itself. Many people here do not have mobile phones, mainly due to the weak economic situation and low income. Internet is not as common as in most parts of the world and comes at a high price. To use it, one must purchase an expensive internet card and connect in specific places, mostly parks. This factor has led to a different lifestyle compared to other places in the world, where people's lives are mostly influenced by mobile phones and virtual space. In Cuba, life and communication exist in a real and classic manner. However, it should be noted that although the gates of Cuba have not fully opened to the world yet, you can see signs of change in every city. If you intend to travel to this country, I recommend seeing its nostalgic face before it changes. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye!